Well, good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Good to be with everyone this morning. Thank you for being here. You know, I was just thinking as I walked around and talked with some of you that we've got some great presenters today, but also in this room we've got a tremendous amount of experience and a lot of talent. And so I think this is going to be a very, very positive and good day. We all have the same objectives, and that is to have a safe environment for our children. No one has a different objective, and I know that's what we're going to be focusing on today. Like the governor, I had experience of going to Chardon, and I was there not too long after the tragedy occurred. Our BCI agents responded to the crime scene. That's a very, very strange term when you think about a school. And I will never forget, as long as I live, walking into the school and seeing our agents there. And I'm used to seeing them somewhere else and processing that place. And I looked around at the walls and I saw what I would expect to see in my kids' school or my grandkids' schools, and these were signs and all about the future. And that school was empty, except for our agents who were there. I just never forget it. And it's something that is just, you know, we never want to see. Ever again, anywhere. As the governor said, our mission is not, we can't bring about a perfect world. But we can do everything within our power to make our schools and make our kids safer. I want to talk about a couple things today. Let me start with something that's on my mind, and it's always the danger when the speaker stands up here, whatever's on his mind or her mind, I've got the mic and I can talk about it. So I'm going to talk about it. State legislature a while ago passed Ohio Revised Code 3313.536. That requires that every school district in the state file for every school building two things with the Attorney General's office. The first is a plan, an emergency plan. And the second is basically an outline of the building, blueprint of the building. I don't say blueprint, but you kind of get the essence of it. Right after Chardon occurred, in our office we started talking about this, and my team told me that there were many school districts that had never filed anything. And some people may say, well, what's the Attorney General do with that? Well, we don't keep it, let me tell you. I mean, we do keep it, but we download it. And the real reason of having that is so that first responders have that information. And we have a system in Ohio called OLEG. And to put it in very, very simple terms, it's a gateway of information for law enforcement and for first responders. And so the idea is for us to get this information, to put it into the system. And so when you have a first responder who is responding, he or she can pull up, just like that, diagram of that building and see where the exits are and see where maybe the library is. If something was reported on Twitter or the cell phone, something occurred in the library, or something occurred in the cafeteria, or it was in room such. It's all there. And it's there like that. They don't have to go back to their file, pull out of the file. It's there. It's online. It's there. It's on the OLEG system. And so it's very, 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 very important. And so we started looking at this after 9/11, or after Chardon. And you know, there's no penalty in the law. And historically, all the Attorney General's done is just collect it. Because that's all the law says we are to do. And there's no penalty for anybody who doesn't file. And there's still no penalty for anybody who doesn't file. And so I started talking about it after the Chardon tragedy. And as a result of that, we started getting a lot of these schools who had not complied in the past sent them in, hundreds of them, who had never complied before. A month or so ago, we looked at this thing again. And I asked my staff, okay, how many school districts have not complied? And there's a number of them. I don't understand why, but there were a number of them. So we sent a letter, and our team said, let's send them a letter. I said, yeah, we're going to send them a letter they have to sign for this time. And we did. They had to sign for it. And we had some more that started to come in. This is a list of buildings in the state of Ohio that to this day, still have not complied. I don't understand it. It is at a minimum of 150, and we're still counting. 150 buildings in this state. I've got a school district in Greene County. My home county has not complied with this. So I don't know what we have to do to get superintendents and to get school boards and to get whoever is in charge to do this. But we're making this list available to the news media. And although there's no penalty for not doing it, I just would not want to be a school superintendent or anybody in charge and not do that. I just don't understand it. So, you know, I sort of feel like, you know, you go to church and the preacher's up there yelling about all the people who aren't in church. And I know you all have done it and you all care. But we got some folks out there who just are not doing it. And it's not just that the Attorney General wants a list. It's not for us. It's for law enforcement. It's for first responders. It's to protect our kids and safety of our kids every single day. So I would again plead with anybody who has not filed this to please do it. Let me comment on Chardon in a minute. I'll say the same thing the governor said, but it's so important. They had a plan, they practiced the plan, they executed the plan. And I can't say enough about everybody who was involved. Everybody who planned it, superintendent, principal, faculty, students, everybody did what they should have done. And so, you know, our hats just have to go off to them. And I think it's a model, frankly, of what we should try to do. And so I congratulate them. We worked with them. We still are working with some of the victims. As many of you know, one of the many things the Attorney General does is run the Crime Victims Compensation Fund. And so we held meetings, and our folks are still working with some of the victims' families to try to get them some compensation. You know, that's just next to nothing, but as far as its impact on people, but it's important, and we need to do it. We can't bring those kids back, we can't remove the trauma, but we can do what the law tells us that we should do and what we want to do, and that is to help out. Let me mention a couple other things. The governor was talking about the drug problem, and there's always been a drug problem. At least as long as I can remember. Back when I was a county prosecuting attorney, there was a drug problem. The drug problem is different today. It's more insidious in some ways. Heroin. When I was a county prosecutor in Greene County, heroin was primarily confined to our major cities in the state. Today, there is not a community in this state that has not been impacted by heroin. Whether it is Vinton County, and Adams County, or Cuyahoga County. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter the size. Heroin is in that county. And it's there because it's so prevalent today, it's cheap. My son, who is a common pleas judge in Cincinnati, tells the story of what he sees a lot. And that is someone is in front of him for a major felony, breaking and entering, aggravated burglary, aggravated robbery, something very, very serious. And the guy, it's usually a guy, but not always, usually a guy, has no criminal record. And then when you do the pre-sentence investigation report, you start looking at what really happened to him, here's what you find out. He's 45 years old, injured his back, became addicted to painkillers, couldn't get the painkillers anymore, and then switched over to heroin. And then once he started taking the heroin, he had to feed the habit, and he didn't have the money, and so he had to go commit the crime. He did commit the crime. We lose 4 people in this state every single day who die of an overdose of drugs. 4 every single day. The majority of those are either heroin or prescription drugs. And of those people who die of an accidental overdose of prescription drugs, 2/3 of them, it was not their own prescription. So they bought these drugs on the streets. And you see it in the schools. You see the heroin problem, and you see the prescription problem. We don't have a magical answer for this. I don't think anybody does. We have gone after, working with the governor's office, we have gone after doctors. We've taken the licenses away in a little over a year of 14 doctors who were really drug dealers in this state. We're going after other ones. We're investigating other ones. We're doing drug take-back days. We are working, one thing I'm very proud of, where's Jennifer? Not here, I don't see her far. Anyway, we have a program that you're back there. Can you stand up, please? Let me see you. Jennifer Billinger, don't be bashful. She's behind the camera, I guess. I couldn't see her. Stay up there for a minute. We are trying to replicate a program that was started in Union County, where the community came together after some deaths of young people and put a video together. You say, well, okay, what's that? A video. Everybody has videos. What difference does that make? Well, it was a different video. It was a different video because it was of people that the people who were watching it knew. And you might put a football star up there. You might put cheerleader up. You might put someone up there who everyone knew. And these were kids who were talking about kids who had died of an overdose. And these are kids who are talking about their own problem that they have dealt with. And what we found is, and we didn't start this, the community started this. What we found is very, very effective. And it's much more effective than looking at a video of somebody you don't know or somebody you can't relate to. And you look at that and say, well, that's the next high school over, or that's my high school, or you might not know the kid, but you know the family or you know somebody. And we're trying to replicate that. And so if any community is interested in replicating that, we won't do it for you. We can't do it for you. But we've got the expertise because we've seen what's happened in a couple counties and how these have been put together, and they work very, very well. You've got to get somebody to help pay for it. You've got to get the local community involved. There's a way for the community to come together. And what really works, I have found, in looking at this problem, I was on President Reagan's National Commission on Drug-Free Schools years and years ago. So I've dealt with this for many, many, many years. What I've found is it is not from the top down. It has to be from the local community. So if the local community buys into it, and the local community says, hey, we're mad. We're tired of seeing our kids die. We've got to do something about it. We can help you put that video together or whatever else that you want to do. We can be a facilitator.